Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Old Pods podcast. I'm Alan, this is Paul.
Hello.
We're now on episode 15. 15 this week, and this week we are talking all things horror. So, my knowledge is going to be dog shit because I'm a soft ass that hides from horror movies, but I've got a few of my classic favourites, but I'm going to defer pretty much to Lawson because he's definitely the horror expert of us. How do you want to kick things off, Lawson? Do you want to go first? Do you want to have a bit of a talk through about how you've structured yours?
Yes. Like I was saying earlier, rather than just talk about the same old films that we always do, the classics. I've tried to pick a film from each sort of subgenre of maybe monster, could you say, and gone with it like that. Um, so I've picked like a vampire one, a werewolf one, a zombie one, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, there's a couple extras on there. Just to talk about like that's films that sort of are pretty good and don't get mentioned too much. But I think it's definitely worth a watch and sort of maybe add something new to the genre. The not sort of really random, super obscure films. I think there's a handful of them. A couple of them are actually free on YouTube to watch, and a couple of them I think are on Prime or Netflix or whatever your poison is. So yeah, not super obscure, but very much worth a look. I think certainly stuck with me.
All right, cool.
So yeah, I've gone for it like that. A little bit obscure, but not mental.
All right, well, mine are a bit well, I say a bit, they're very random and they're definitely on the lighter side of horror movies. Some of them even blur the line a little bit between horror and other genres. But we'll just go we'll just go back and forth. So do you want to pick your first one, and then we'll go back and pick? I'll pick one of mine. We'll just go backwards and forwards and see how we get on.
Yes, and the first one I've gone with is a film called Afflicted. It's a found footage film, fairly recent one. When is that out? 2014, and it's about a couple of guys who go on. I think it's been a little while since I watched it. I should have rewatched it really. They go on like a European road trip, I think. They sort of college age guys, maybe a bit older.
Hmm.
Uh, and one of them gets afflicted with some kind of lurgy, some germ. It sort of doesn't really affect them that much at first, but the symptoms start to creep in, and they don't really know what's going on with them. It's a bit strange, and
Yeah.
as a found footage, it's all documented mainly through his friends. Sort of, I think it's like a body cat, like a GoPro or something like that, or maybe
Yeah.
Google
Yeah.
Glasses. I can't fully remember. Um, and yeah, he charts his friend's degradation into this lurgy without giving too much away. Uh, he starts to change and in various ways, and it's just a really cool, interesting new take on because it's found footage and it has like GoPros and stuff like that, and you get to see the behavior of this character when he starts to succumb to like the virus's effects. You
All right.
start to
Okay.
see the world and like the action through his eyes, like what's happening, or from his perspective. And there's some really cool scenes of him sort of going on like a, like sort of murderous rampage when he's in the throes of this illness. Um, and he starts to like sort of run around, and there's cops come, like like armed police, like a SWAT team type thing, and he yeah, he's like racing around really quickly, and he's like, they're all shooting everywhere, and there's bullets flying all over, and walls exploding and stuff, and he's like zooming around really quick, sneaking around and killing them all, and then sort of picking one off and moving on to the next one, and it's all through his point of view, sort of through a camera either on his chest or in his head, one of the two. And it's
Oh,
because
Christ,
he's
yeah.
he's because he's in the throes of this virus, he doesn't realize that he's got a camera on him,
Yeah.
but you're watching the footage of him in this sort of frenzied state, killing all these guys, and it's just really cool. And I'm not sure how they did some of it. Some of it's incredible, like the camera work. They must have had some really cool. So it was before drones, I'd have thought, 2014.
Yeah.
But
Well, certainly before any kind of like advanced ones.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they must have had some really good like pulley work and stuff like that, and like wire work and stuff for the cameras and things. Um,
Yeah.
but it's just a really interesting story as well because he starts to come out of it a little bit. there's like a he doesn't go completely crazy and then it's just all him on a rampage. He
Yeah.
sort of goes in and out of it of this sort of state. Yeah, it's a really interesting take.
What's it
It's
called? Afflicted.
afflicted. Yeah,
Is it the kind of
I'm
thing that like sits with you? Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of
in
like
what way?
like I don't know. Sometimes I watch a horror and I think it gets in my head and I end up thinking about it for days and days and days.
I mean,
Or
it
is it
might
kind of
do.
like
For me, it was more like the spectacle of it. Like it's really clever how they've done this, or they've thought of this, viewing it through his, how he might behave,
yeah?
sort of all like superhuman at times. The way he moves and stuff like that.
All right,
When
okay,
he's in this frenzy, like he's running away from the cops. There's a bit where he's running away from them, and he can like jump up onto rooftops and things like that. Um, and it's all through his view, and it looks very real. And you sort of watching it, thinking, "God, man, this is where it would be like to be Spider Man."
yeah,
Like the way he just moves. It looks very real. They must have done some really good like rope work on it.
that's quite cool.
So sort of pulley work, and the bit when he's zooming around killing cops and things like that. It's the speed of it. It's impressive. But yeah, it's not particularly. I mean, it's violent, but it's not horrifically violent. Um, and it's not really harrowing or gruesome, but it's a very cool film, and it's an interesting take on an old genre and an old creature feature, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um, it's certainly an interesting way to do it and to
well,
present
good.
and to tell the old story, the same old tale, but in a different, interesting new
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
And it's a very good film.
that sounds
How
good.
did
That sounds quite appealing actually. So we'll get that on. Oh, another thing we can say as well is we've just started setting up a letterboxd account for the old pods. So we're going to go back through the movies that we've talked about through these genres, for all the ones that we've done, and we'll put a bit of a list together of all the ones that we've mentioned and talked about. So we'll definitely add Afflicted to that list, and then
Mhm.
we can check it out.
It's got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
Wow.
better than I thought it would get. It's got a 6.2 on IMDb, but it doesn't have anybody famous in it.
All right. Okay.
And as we know, if it hasn't got anyone famous in, IMDb doesn't
IMDb
care.
are not going to
So a
rate it.
6.2 for somebody for a film with no famous people in
Yeah, it's good.
is like an 8.5 or a 9.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Okay. All
because
right. Okay.
IMDb is shit, as we know.
Well, I'll segue a little bit from where you're saying it felt almost a little bit like a superhero kind of Spider-Man thing. And one of the ones I've got on my list is Brightburn.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
The
good film.
is it
Yeah.
James Gunn? I think it's a James Gunn one, which is kind of like a dark take on the Superman tale,
Hmm.
where they obviously they find this family out in wherever they are in Kansas. I don't know, might be Kansas the same as Superman. I'm not sure. I can't remember to be honest. Um, but rather than being influenced and having the good upbringing this Clark gets, I can't remember what the kid's called to be honest in Brightburn.
I can't either.
No, but no matter what kind of upbringing he's got, because he's clearly getting a good upbringing, there's just something darker in him. And he kind of, once he realizes he's got these powers and abilities, starts to feed on that a little bit. Like there's a pretty gruesome scene where he's putting his hand in, is it like a harvester or a grass cutter or something like
A
that?
lawnmower,
The
yeah.
lawnmower, which
Lawnmower
is,
tips over, yeah.
yeah. And then obviously he starts to go after other kids and hovering outside. Isn't there a particular, is it a girl that he's stalking that he's kind of floating outside of our window and
Yeah, it's like a mean girl at school who hits on
yeah,
him, bullies him
yeah,
a bit,
yeah,
and he like sort of starts to stalk her. Yeah,
yeah, and obviously takes this mantle of gets this bit of cloth and gets a mask on, and um, it all starts coming to light, and it's crazy violent, and then his adopted parents realize they need to do something about it and stop him, which goes terribly wrong, as you'd imagine. But it's a very dark, sinister twist on the Superman story, which they've done it. I mean, it's obviously worked for James Gunn because he's fucking head of DC now. But it was Superman without it being Superman, and everybody knew who the parody was for.
oh, it was. I think it wore its influence on its sleeve
Without
quite
it,
blatantly. Yeah,
yeah,
especially with the end section as well, the end credits. That really puts it to bed
yeah,
as to how sort of, I don't want to say blatant, But yeah, he wasn't. They weren't making bones and trying to pretend it was some new original
No, no.
tale or
Didn't they
anything like
even
that. It
mention
was
at some point there was tale of a man back in another city and an
yeah,
Amazonian type woman that was murdering people in another city
yeah.
and a
There was like
fish
a
man from another city, and it
fishman.
was
That
like,
was it. Yeah,
yeah,
uh-huh.
and it's like,
It was
oh,
like an evil Justice League.
they're
Yeah,
clearly building up to be an evil Justice League.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, for me, who I'm not a horror aficionado by any means, it was enjoyable. It was dark enough for us that
It was
it
a great
didn't.
film. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
the
I didn't think
effects
that
were
was gonna.
good. It was a dark twist. It wasn't so harrowing that was the kind of thing that was going to put us off, and I wasn't going to be able to finish the movie. It was good. It was enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a bit tongue in cheek, and it didn't. It had some really violent parts,
Yeah, it did.
like
Yeah.
insanely violent parts. Like I was surprised by how far they pushed it sometimes. But yeah, it never went too far. It never got like mean spirited. Even though it got very close, very very close.
Mm.
But it was good, and I liked how he handled him being the way he is.
Yeah.
How they how they explained him being so mean and so cruel, and even though he had a really good upbringing, how that came to be. I like that. It wasn't really a twist, but it was yeah with I mean I don't know if we want to spoil it or not. I don't know if everybody's
Yeah,
seen
go
it
for it.
yet.
I mean, it's been out for a
Uh,
long time. Spoilers if
yeah,
you haven't seen it. Just
uh, the ship in the basement, how it was like whispering to him the whole time
yeah,
because he kept the ship, and
yeah,
he was being programmed subliminally by his ship from his home planet
yeah.
the
It had
entire time to be a conqueror.
yeah,
Yeah, to destroy worlds. That was a really cool thing because yeah, it would I think it would have been hard to explain him becoming so wicked from his upbringing because he had a good upbringing
yeah.
because
It was
his
the
parents
influence
weren't
from
the
the ship, wasn't it?
stereotypical
Yeah,
Clarks, you
because
know.
wasn't the
Yeah,
ship the only thing that could hurt him as well?
the metal from the ship
The
was the
metal
only
from
thing
the
that
ship
could
because
him.
his
Yeah,
mum, and I forget her name. She's a great actress. She appears in loads of different things.
yeah, she's in a lot of stuff. I forget her name as well.
But that was what she was trying to use a fragment of the ship to try and
Mhm.
kill him at the end of the movie, essentially, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was really clever the ending as well. I'll not talk about I'll not go over that, but yeah, the way they ended it was really good.
it was. It was
Yeah,
good. Yeah. So Brightburn, that's the first one I had down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Brightburn's a solid film. Yeah,
yeah.
uh-huh. Definitely more of a horror than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be superhero, but like a bit, you know, a bit pissy. I was
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't think they were going to push the boat out, but then it was yeah, it was it was very violent
yeah,
and yeah, very entertaining as well.
yeah.
Um, right, go on to my other one, and it's hard not to spoil this one really. But the next one I've got called Where, WER.
Okay.
Um, and surprise, surprise, it's a werewolf movie.
All right. Okay.
Um, it's I can't remember if this is found footage as well. I've just remembered like a bunch of these are found footage. Um, so yeah, if you don't like found footage, you shit out a lot. um, but some are more found footage than others. This one where it's about a again, I should have really watched this. I was only just thinking about them over the last couple of days. Um, it's about a fella who they catch, and I think there's been a murder or some murders, and they get a fella they detain a fella, and he's enormous. He's like 7 foot tall, and he's got massive hands, and he's got big teeth, and he's really hairy and like bony and sort of muscly in like a a very animalistic kind of way. But
Yeah.
he's a person. He talks. He's very very quiet. He barely speaks, and I think he's got a really heavy accent, which is why I think he might be French in real life. The actor. Um, and he claims to be a werewolf, but he doesn't sort of show signs of being a werewolf. He just shows signs of being a bit of a genetic sort of throwback, you know, like a bit of a one-off.
Yeah.
But he's very big and very strong and very scary looking and sounding, and you know he looks the part. If somebody was going to be a werewolf, it was going to be him. And it follows I think it's a reporting team is looking into it about him and his family, and like some other killings which could have been something, and they don't know what's doing these killings. If it is a werewolf, you know, or if it is just sort of animals and things like that. Um, so it's a bit of a mystery as bit of a horror. But yeah,
Okay.
it's got some really good scenes in it. Again involving cops.
Just coming out of Google now.
All right, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's got some brilliant action scenes, um, and it's quite creepy. The ending's a bit strange, um, but not too strange to be unenjoyable. It's just sort of yeah. I think they painted themselves into a box with the end. There's only one way to go with the ending,
Yeah,
but it's still very enjoyable. And again, it's a bit of a fresh take on like a tired film series trope, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. The imagery looks fucking terrifying.
It is quite yeah. I mean, it probably would be scary to some people. I'm a jaded old fart,
Yeah,
but yeah, the guy who plays the fella, I forget his name, and I think he's got like a French name. Um, he's great. He's just his screen presence is just unbelievable because he's so like massive and odd looking. You know, like he just looks strange. You know, you'd feel uncomfortable around him
yeah,
because he's just big and awkward and like yeah, he just looks like an animal man. You know.
yeah.
Um,
I know the girl in it. The girl in it's AJ Cook. She's the one from Criminal Minds. She's been in Criminal Minds for about 20 years.
all right, I'm not saying that. Yeah, but it's like yeah, it's a mystery as well, like as to what's going on in it, because it's all very is he or isn't he? You know, like did he? Is it him? Is it a werewolf? Is it a killer? You know, is he a killer? It's all very you sort of scratching your head for a fair bit of it,
Yeah,
and then I think when the reveal comes, sort of it comes to a point where it's like, oh my, oh this is what's happening, this is what's going on. It happens spectacularly, you know, like it's not just sort of somebody at a desk going, "Oh my god," you know, like it's when the truth is unveiled, it's unveiled spectacularly. But yeah, that's my
no, good.
recommendation for that.
Good
Definitely,
watch.
I think it's probably one you would enjoy as well, men, because it's not like again, it's violent, but it's not horrifically violent. It just sort of has its moments, and
Yeah, and I like the
it's not
kind of
really like it's not like scary because it's a I think the whole film is done as a documentary because the film crew was filming and looking into this as it was happening. Where I think the film, as we are watching it, is people discussing what happened at the time.
Hmm.
So it keeps going back to like talking heads and reporters and saying, you know, oh, when they found this out and da da da, and then it will show
Yeah.
you the footage that they filmed at the time. So it's kind of a like a mockumentary, I suppose, would be the best term for
Okay. What kind of rating would you give it?
it. Oh, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's at least a solid seven.
Oh, really?
Um,
That's good for you
yeah,
as well, because you keep your high scores quite a little bit as well.
yeah, I'm a bit rough on things, and it's one of them where like it's certainly not a perfect movie. It might not even be an excellent movie, but it sort of I think it had a decent idea and it executed it quite well. I remember there being some shonky sort of effects work here and there,
Yeah.
not much, but it's not an effects heavy film. Um, and sort of the ending was a bit. I felt like they wrote themselves into a corner with the ending. So yeah, it's by no means a perfect film, but it is interesting and
Okay.
it's creative and it's enjoyable. And I like that kind of film, like that. I like documentary style films and found footage films. I have a bit of a soft spot for a film that's like quite boring for long sections. Well, not boring, but not much is happening. And then
Yeah.
there'll be a sudden spike in things, and things go like crazy for a little bit and it's you're carried along on that journey, and
Yeah.
when the action comes, it really comes hard. A
I
bit
like
like
that.
District 9. Like District 9 really earns its action, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's quite sort of almost procedural, and then all of a sudden, fucking robots and alien guns. You know, like and I like that kind of yeah, I like that escalation.
Yeah. I like the thing that's selling me on that one is the there is he or isn't he kind of
Uh,
thing. There was I like the did you ever see and it's a film that really frustrates me. Did you ever see a movie with Nicolas Cage called Season of the Witch?
oh yeah, yeah,
Where
aye,
they're transporting the young girl
yeah,
in,
the girl,
and it's
aye,
like, is she a witch? Isn't she a witch?
uh-huh.
And there was loads of different things they could have done with it. And right up until the end, I was thinking this is a fairly decent movie. And then at the end, it shit the bed, and it was like, no, she is a witch. He's a massive CGI battle with this
Yeah,
said
yeah.
witch in the cage.
She turns into like an evil demon or something, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
and you just
Starts
think,
flying
what
around and
the
stuff.
fuck? What an absolute cop out. You think they could have gone so many different ways. left it with a little bit of an intrigue, left it a little bit of mystery in it. No, no, no. We'll just make her into this
Yeah, yeah.
massive CGI beast.
I mean, I think that film shit the bed a bit before that ends. To be
Ugh,
honest,
well,
it was a
fucking
load of bollocks.
fucking thing, pissed me off. Anyway, but yeah, no, where I'll check that out because I do like the sound of that. It sounds quite good.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. Yeah, very enjoyable.
my next one I've got is a bit of a classic. Um, I think it's classed as a horror, but I don't know for definite. To be honest, is Jaws.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, Jaws is a great movie.
Oh,
Obviously,
it's
I've seen
definitely
it as
horror. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, terrified loads of people at the time. It
Oh
stopped loads of
Christ,
people
yeah.
from going into the sea, and it's just one of those ones is that I see as like a milestone or a landmark movie. I think
Oh,
that
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that I think everybody at some point, if you're a fan of any kind of movie at all, watch it for a bit of filmmaking genius, so to speak, without
Mm.
sounding too kind of too gushy or too kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not stereotypical, but kind of very kind of or not too cheesy, if you like.
Mhm.
It's a film that everybody needs to see, I think, at some point. And
Oh
it's
yeah, it's yeah.
just the way it's shot. The suspense is great. I mean, you can go back and look at it now and think, "Fucking hell, that shark is sketchy as fuck."
Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, but at the time, it was great. And I say at the time, even if at the right kind of age bracket, if you've never seen it before, if you put it on, you'll think, "Fucking hell,
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. It's
terrifying."
there's all. I think the only thing that sets it back, like you say, is some of the shonky stuff with the shark.
Yeah,
I mean, because it was a big clockwork fucking rubber shark at the end of the day.
yeah, exactly.
But there's still scenes of it where like the bit where he's throwing the chum in the water and it sticks its head out for the first time you
Oh,
see it.
yeah, and
'Cause
but
you don't much see a fin before that. You just it's everything that you do see is through the shark's eyes
yeah, and then
and the
it's like,
music,
oh,
and that's
we're
the
going to
first
need a
time you
bigger
see its
boat.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But the first time you just see its face briefly, and it's a rubber shark, but it looks fucking it's terrifying.
yeah, it's gone. It's there and it's gone
Yeah,
and it's away, and you think, fucking hell.
yeah. And if you're not already invested in it by that point, you're locked in, even though it's a good chunk into the film.
Yeah.
If you're not invested by then, that scene, that single shot, and it's only a couple of seconds
Yeah.
where it pops its
What
head out and goes back under. That
I think that helps it massively as well, though, that you don't see it until that point, and you just
oh,
see it through the
absolutely,
shark's
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
So you know there's all these deaths happening. You can see like the people, the limbs appearing, and there's people missing, and you're
Oh, you
thinking,
find yeah, bodies wash up and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and the bodies, and you think, fucking hell. And the suspense has got you hooked at that point,
Mhm.
and then obviously they go out looking for it, and it's just great, just an absolute classic, absolute classic. It's probably a very soft horror in terms of horror movies, but
by today's standards, it would be. Yeah,
yeah,
but but it is still absolutely a horror film. Jaws,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's one of them that's got a bit of everything. You know, it's quite funny at moments.
hmm
Their interactions, you know, the banter with the guys, the three main characters.
yeah.
It's funny, you know. It's a bit actiony, you know. There's some good sort of actiony scenes in it and moments. Um, and it's scary at times as well.
It's scary.
It's one of them where it's like it's I'd put it in. I'd probably call it an adventure film more than anything else
Yeah.
because it's hard to pin. You know, like you could call it a horror. You could call it a very black comedy at times.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but yeah, it definitely has its roots in horror. Absolutely, the bit with the boat where he's like where they go diving to like because I think they find the boat, don't they? They find a half sunk
Oh,
boat,
yes, yes,
and
yes,
it's
yeah.
old man fucking Smithers or something.
Yeah.
And they go diving and the underwater looking in the bottom because the boat's smashed underneath, and his fucking face turns up at the hole in the bottom of the boat. Jesus, there's nobody watching that for the first time didn't shit themselves. Like, even though you know it's coming, you know something's coming. You
Yeah.
know,
I think
um,
it's like that all the way through as well. You know, at some point that it's a shark, something like that's going to happen. But
yeah, it's because it's everywhere at once. Like, because they're just on the boat and they can't go anywhere. They're stuck on the boat where the shark could be anywhere. You know, it's
yeah,
because the sea, there's lots of like big open shots. You know, the sea's so massive that the damn thing really is. It's everywhere. You know, as far as they're concerned,
yeah.
it's everywhere at once.
And I
It's
think they'd
the
massively. If
presence.
somebody tried to do a film similar now, I think they'd really struggle to do it. Like I
Oh,
don't.
they'd 100% balls it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think you could do it ever as well as that. Well, they've tried, haven't they? They tried with like Deep Blue Sea, which turned
Oh,
into
careful
some.
now. Deep Blue
Yeah,
Sea is brilliant.
it is a great movie, but it's not like that, is it? It's more
No,
like
it's not. No, it's not. It's Deep Blue Sea's daft. It's
yeah,
fun,
it's
but it's daft.
yeah,
Jaws has got sort of Jaws has got a certain gravitas to it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's not like scientific mega sharks.
yes. Like I was just
This
about to
is
say, like the fucking like the Meg.
yeah. The Meg's mental.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah,
The Meg.
the Meg.
Fucking love the Meg. Brilliant.
Yeah, but that was my next one. That was my next one.
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah, Jaws. I mean, yeah, Jaws is one of them. Where what can't you say about it that
Mm,
hasn't already been said? But it's still
exactly.
worth seeing because it's a tremendous film. I've got the Jaws Lego set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. um,
Shout out Lego.
yeah, shout out Lego. Free stuff. Always appreciated Lego.
Yeah.
Um, right. My next one is again. I don't want to give too many spoilers away for this one, so this will probably be a relatively brief summary.
Okay.
Was that the dog?
Yeah, it's the dog in the background. He
A
just had a
weird noise.
stretch and then shook his head.
It sounded like some goblin scampering
Yeah.
through or something. Um,
Don't fucking say that because I'm probably talking about horror movies for half an hour now. By the time we get to an hour, I'm going to go to bed and not sleep for 3 hours.
oh, you pretty soft shite.
Nah.
Um, anyway, yes, the next one is called Savage Land. And this one is, you'll be surprised to know, found footage, documentary style found footage. A mockumentary again. This is a film. It's been the events of the film have already happened, and it's not really a found footage. It's more just a straight up fake documentary.
Yeah.
The premise of it is there's this small border town in America near the America Mexico border, I think. Um, and one night, according to this documentary that we're watching, one night, one single man killed the entire town, and it's a considerable sized town of people. And he was sort of swiftly apprehended, and he's in jail, and he's awaiting trial. And it's various people talking about what happened that night, um, and who he is, and all the rest of it. And of course, there's they have like the local politicians on who like some of them are saying this is like something's not right, and there's other types saying we need to fry this bastard, we need to hang him. But this guy won't talk. He's a I think he's like a Mexican fella, and he works. I think he comes into town to do work, and he might still live in Mexico. I'm not again. I can't remember. I should have watched all these again. Anyway, he won't talk at all. However, somebody finds a camera, just a SLR, digital SLR camera, and it's his camera because he was an amateur photographer.
All right. Okay.
And when they find the camera, they get the photos off it, and when they get the photos off, he starts to talk. He just sort of he can't hold it in anymore. He starts answering them because they find evidence that proves that it might not have been him has killed the
Right.
entire town. Aside from the fact that it's insane to think one man, because it's not just like three houses. It's a fairly sizable town.
Yeah,
It's
and
also
somebody's gone through
ridiculous to
the
assume
full place.
one person can kill an entire town of everyone. Like
Yeah.
um. So and the photos appear to back that up, and it shows the photos in the film occasionally, like briefly, sort of throughout the rest of the film. It starts to show the photographs, and the photographs are all because he took them at night on the night of this event. He was taking the photos while this event was occurring, this event that hit the town, and the photos are absolutely terrifying. Like you don't really see much in them. They just sort of the obviously photos that have been very quickly taken while
Yeah.
somebody's moving, running, moving, try, and in the dark as well, in the complete pitch black at night, in the chaos. And yeah, these photos are just like for the little brief glimpses of stuff that you see in them. You don't see blood and guts and like people's heads flying off and
Yeah,
or demons or monsters
just
or
enough
anything
to
like
get you
that.
thinking about them.
You just see them and you think, yeah, and it's really eerie stuff, like the photographs, and you start to piece together as you're watching it what actually happened in this town. Um, and they can tell from the metadata on the photos the course that he took as he was moving through town taking the pictures because they know where they were all taken.
Yeah.
Um, so then because it's a documentary you're watching, they do little maps, like of little
All right.
infographics
Yeah,
and maps
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and it keeps its documentary sort of style all the way through. It doesn't turn into a movie. It keeps its documentary, and but the wheels are already in motion for this guy of people wanting to fry him, and they find in this evidence that's or what they suspect is evidence. Um,
Yeah, and that kind
at,
of
at
seals
a
his fate.
at a very very late hour in the day, so to speak, uh, and it sort of it leaves the whole thing not open to interpretation, but you realise something very very different went on as to what they thought was going on at the beginning of the film, and
Okay.
it's not. There's a scene at the end that sort of like ties a bit of Hollywood onto it. I'm not sure it necessarily needed it, but it hammers the point home if anybody didn't get it. If anybody was thinking, what was all that shouted about? Like it hammers it home. It sort of seals the deal.
What's
Um,
called Savage Land?
Savage Land, yeah. And
Okay.
it's another one of them films where not much happens throughout it. It's very low impact, and then you start to see these photos, and then they start to talk to photographers about the how realistic the photos are. Like could these be faked and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's that's one that sort of gets in your head a little bit. It doesn't like sort of traumatize you, but it's just the way that it's being made, and the photos that they find are so they just they perfect. They just hit that line just nicely of you being able to make out not what is going on for sure, but you just see things in these photos and think, my God, is that a person's face? Is that an outline of like it really
Yeah.
really gets you. Um,
That sounds cool.
it's a really good film. Again, it's an old genre, but it's a new approach to it.
Okay.
And I always recommend that one to people because it's if you can sort of really sit and watch it and focus on it, it's a great film.
Is there any big names in it as well? Kind of lesser
Not
known.
that I remember. I don't think there is. I'm sure it's relatively low budget. Let's
2015, is that the one?
have a look. That's the one. Yeah, yeah. The cover's like black and white photo
Yeah.
negatives. Don't go on Google Images or anything because
No, no, I won't.
it'll
I
show
don't.
you.
I wouldn't want to give anything away, but
Yeah, I mean I've just gone on there and it's got all the photos,
is it?
which is a bit yeah,
I
which is
I
a bit.
don't remember. Don't recognize any of the cast.
No, I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it had any big names in it. What's its score? Its score is 62 on Rotten Tomatoes, 6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay.
Better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. No,
Um,
good. Another one we'll add to the list of recommendations.
yeah, but yeah,
Sounds good.
very very atmospheric. Yeah, definitely one to
Yeah.
make you think, as they say. Get the old
Okay.
noggin jogging.
Savage Land. All right. The next one I've got. Well, so I do like of all horror movies that apart from any kind of obvious ones, like a bit like Brightburn, where it's got anything to do with superheroes or anything like that. The the ones that I would kind of more comfortably opt towards watching would be anything to do with vampires, because as a kid I used
Mm.
to like vampires, and I don't want to bang on about like Bram Stoker's Dracula, because again, there's only so many times that anybody can listen to people bang on about Bram Stoker's Dracula and things like that. Um, and slashes, just because I think obviously when we were the right age, when we were kind of mid teens, it was banging Scream's release
Cream was
period,
yeah.
Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But in vampires, so I've got three that I like that I would put on, and I couldn't decide which one to put on, so I just thought I'd briefly mention them all. The first one is a very very recent one, and we talked about it previously on the podcast is Abigail,
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
with the ballerina girl that gets kidnapped and turns out that she's a vampire.
Uh-huh.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed. But again, because we
Yeah.
spoke about it pretty recently, I don't want to bang on about it too much. But it is very, very good. If you haven't seen it, give it a look out. Um, there's some cool scenes in there. The cast's pretty strong. The cast's very strong, actually. I love the guy who was in The Strain, who's in that as well.
Oh,
Was it
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant? Great, fantastic actor, and the cast's strong. Great movie. Check it out. The other ones I've got on are going back to the 90s and then back further again to the 80s. The 90s one is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, classic.
Absolute classic.
Modern
Yeah.
classic. Yeah.
Um, Starring George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino. Um, I was going to say Jennifer Love Hewitt, but it's not. It's Juliette Lewis, isn't it?
Julia Lewis. Yeah.
Juliette Lewis and Salma Hayek. Um,
And Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel.
Can't forget
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah. Great
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Dusk Till Dawn for me, just time absolutely all
Oh,
time
perfect.
banger. All time
Perfect.
banger. Yeah. It came
Yeah.
out when I think we were in like the last year of school, maybe the first
Yeah.
before. So it was at the time it was such a fucking cool film,
Oh,
like
it was. It was
a
cool as
couple of
ice.
criminals and like it was full of tits and it was
Yeah.
super violent
Oh,
and
so it was brilliant.
yeah, and it was funny as hell, like
Oh,
it
it
was
was
like
class.
mean spirited, funny
Really funny.
humor,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
like when
action,
he goes in
girls.
early on in the movie when they go and he's getting to the hotel and George Clooney has got some lines that are fucking unforgettable in that movie. Like when he goes in the hotel and he's banging on the bell trying to get somebody's attention, he bangs it on the desk.
Yeah.
And this old guy comes out and goes, "What the hell do you want?" And he goes, "What do you think I want, you mean old bastard? I want a fucking room."
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of George Clooney at all, but his delivery in that film is brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's flawless. It's flawless. I mean, obviously, it goes so far through, and it's a massive twist. Well, not a massive twist because you know you're going into a movie to watch vampires, but it's said very much like a kind of, uh, very much a Quentin Tarantino kind of movie, where it's about like the guys that they're being the robbery and escape and they're going through trying to find somewhere to hide out. They've got a family held hostage in this RV, and then they go and they stay at the Titty Twister, don't they? It's the Titty Twister,
Uh,
the bar that they find a stay in.
they meeting George Clooney's contacts
Yes, yeah,
as he's just robbed the bank, and he meeting his contacts there in the morning.
yeah. So they're staying overnight. They're trying to relax and have a drink and have a good time. And then something happens, doesn't it? There's a fight or something breaks out, and then it's just like feeding time at the zoo, and everybody that works in the fucking Titty Twister turns into a vampire. Just complete carnage throughout. And everybody gets dwindled down to the last few survivors, and then they get out. And again, another classic line from George Clooney is, he goes outside, he meets his contact in the morning, and he says, what's wrong? Were they smackheads or something?
With the crazy people.
Were they crazy people? And he says, crazy people. I don't care how fucking crazy they are. Crazy people do not fucking burst into flames when sunlight touches them.
Yeah, he's just permanently annoyed in that film, isn't he? With like his entire situation,
Oh yeah,
because he has to deal with Tarantino, his brother, Richie, who's crazy.
Richie. Yeah,
And then he has to deal with the fucking vampires.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he has to deal with his idiot contact, who's Cheech Marin, who's like three. I think he's like three people in that film because he's the pussy guy at the
Yeah.
beginning. He's the same fella. I think he's someone else. I think he's a cop. I think in it. I can't remember. Yeah, but it's Dusk Till Dawn's. I've not seen it in years, but when I was a kid, it was just never out of the VHS, the video player.
Oh, Sam.
Never
Yeah.
out of it. I watched it, and it was one of them films where I knew it word for word, like all the way through.
Yeah, there
And
was
it
a
drove
good
my mother
period of
fucking
time where
crazy.
it was the same where I put it in, watched it for the first time, and it just stayed in the VHS player for
Yeah,
weeks on
never
end.
came out. Yeah.
And just go back and just watch it again and again.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know that was a way with a lot of good movies, like back in the day. Like if you found something that you really loved, It wasn't
Because
like the
back then,
kind
I
of
mean, a video was an expensive commodity back then.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
a
Yeah,
videotape. It wasn't something that was. It's not like now where you could go and buy like. Because now
no,
I mean, you go and buy 10 DVDs for a tenner. In
yeah.
some
Well,
shops.
it's you don't even need to buy them, do you? Everything's just so throwaway. They're just
That's true. Yeah,
at the
yeah.
click of a button. You can watch a million movies
All
anytime you want.
stream. Aye.
Like back then, it was like you've got the movies you've got. Something new comes out, and you want to just absorb it over and over and over again
Yeah.
because it's
Uh,
new, it's fresh.
yeah.
Um,
And quite often you had bugger all else to watch anyway.
and you had fuck all else to watch.
We
Yeah,
had four channels, for a lot of
yeah,
our youth. We only had four channels, and it was mostly shite on them anyway.
yeah, absolutely.
um, yeah,
No,
but no, yeah, that was tattooed to my video player. Loved
yeah,
it.
it was great. It was great. And the other vampire movie that I've got is again it's another classic, but The Lost Boys.
Ah, yeah.
The Lost Boys, I love that movie. I love the
Mhm,
soundtrack. I love Keith Sutherland in it. I love everything about it. Really, it's just great. It's another one that I
mhm,
can put on at any time, sit back and just yeah, I can either watch it or I can have it on in the background and just be
yeah,
content either way.
mhm.
And it's
It is
just
very
great.
cool. Like it's a proper cool movie, Lost Boys, isn't it? It
Yeah,
was like sort of making vampires cool and sexy again.
yeah, exactly. Corey Feldman
Um,
was great. Corey Feldman obviously had a great run of different
uh,
movies he jumped in and out of at the time.
he was one of the vampire hunters, wasn't he? The
He was
brothers,
one of
like
the
in the
little
comic
vampire
shop.
hunters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was it the Frog Brothers or something, or the Frog Twins, something like
yeah,
that?
something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I enjoyed Lost Boys. I didn't watch it for years. Like I'd watched back in the day when I was a kid on probably on some VHS or something like that. And then I never watched it for donkey's years after that, and I kind of forgot all about it. But then I watched it again not long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and it was like it really is solid. It is a really good film.
Yeah.
I remember the bit where you see the like the main character, the older brother, where he goes to there's like a bunch of fucking metalheads or something having a big fire, like a party with a fire, and the vampires attack them.
Oh yes,
And
yeah.
I remember that being like way more violent than I remembered.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Certainly implied violence. I'm sure there's a bit where somebody gets their head ripped off or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, it was a lot better than I remembered because I didn't really care that much for it. But yeah, yeah, Lost Boys is solid. Right, another one for me. That's not a found footage this time. I did have
Mm.
another found footage on next on my list, but I'll skip over that one for now. Um, it's a film called A Dark Song. Uh, Relatively recent. Last 5 years, I reckon, easy. Where are we at? I'm gonna get blown out now. 2017, so not quite. Um,
Dark Song.
yes, it's uh, what did I say? 27. Yeah, 2017. Um,
Oh fuck! This looks terrifying.
give us what you're looking at.
Some fucking horrific image.
Where?
Oh,
Where's this?
it's just. Hang on. I'll see if I can. I
Oh,
don't know
is it
if I
like the
can.
spooky face over somebody in the bed, like a ghost face
Yeah.
with white eyes? Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
Google Images. That's some kind of Asian film, a Japanese or Korean film or something. That's not the
Fucking
one
hell.
I'm. Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about. That's got nothing to do with this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's some Asian horror film. I think looks like it anyway. Yeah. Anyway, that's not relevant to the Dark Song film.
All right, go on. Then.
That doesn't happen in it. It's the story of a woman who uh she hires uh a mystic sort of guy, shaman, sorcerer, whatever you want to call it, um, to perform a magical ritual for her. And it's something that she's clearly been researching and looking into,
Hmm.
and she knows what she wants to do. And he tries to convince her quite forcefully that it's not for the weak. It's very serious magic.
All right.
And he just looks like a guy. He's just like got a tracksuit on and like a dirty vest, and he's like this scruffy, dishevelled, miserable old shit of a man. Like he's really not a nice person at all. Um, and she's very guarded and sort of closed off, and he keeps insisting that this is going to be very difficult and it might not work, and it's going to take a lot of effort from both of them. It's going to take a lot out of them because
Yeah.
it's really strong magic, and she's hired a house. She give him a load of money. She's hired a house. It's slowly revealed through the film why she wants to do this spell. We'll say ritual spell, whatever it is. Um, it slowly comes out why she wants to do it. Um, and why she's willing to go so far to do it. And it's about their not quite their relationship, but their relationship is the sort of central point of the film for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Um, and her sort of acceptance of the situation that she's found herself in, because it it's a very it's almost like a realistic depiction of magic. Um, it's lots of rituals and things that they do, like bathing and stuff like that, and meditation and prayer and things. And it's again not really much happens, but he keeps saying like it will happen. Like this is part of it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
slow and it's methodical, and you have to go through the steps again and again and again, and things do start to slowly happen. Things start to change. But because of the nature of the ritual, the removing themselves from reality, to enter like a more magical realm, space, dimension, whatever you want to call it, things start to get a bit creepy as well along the way. And there's like spooky things happen around the house, like the sort of starts to see people and hear people in the house, and like little gifts get left, like little things
Yeah.
get left here and there. Um, it I don't know if it would ever transcend into what you would typically call horror. There's certainly some scary moments in it, and sort of like spooky, very spooky, atmospheric, um, sort of like scenes and sequences and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It never goes into a full blown. It's not like a haunted house movie. They don't summon a demon that like starts killing people or anything like that. It's not that kind of film. It's
Yeah.
it's about sort of a journey through like a very difficult, complicated ritual that sort of that skirts along the edges of like very dark things and places.
Yeah.
And it's just a really good story as well. The conclusion, it wraps up quite nicely and satisfactorily. I thought anyway. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments online saying, "Oh, the ending was fucking stupid," but it makes it's the ending makes perfect sense, and it resolves itself quite nicely. I think
Okay.
quite well. Um, Not what you would call like a scary horror movie, but it's got a lot of horror elements in it,
Yeah.
and the performances by the two main characters are amazing as well. Like she's very cagey and not suspicious, but she's obviously guarded, and she's got secrets, and he's just an absolute shit. You do kind of like start to like him
Hmm.
because I don't know, he has a certain charm to him, but he's just a tosser. He's an absolute shithead.
Yeah.
But he does know what he's doing. He does genuinely know what he's doing, and he knows it's dangerous as well, which is why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
He wants to dissuade her a little bit and make sure that she's on course to do it, because he knows it's going to be dangerous and very difficult. Um, but yeah, all in, absolute solid movie all around. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't particularly put it in a genre either. It's not a ghost story. It's not a haunted house movie. Um, Despite what I said I was going to do, but
Yeah, it's just its own thing.
yeah, it's a good film that I don't think gets nearly as much love as I think it probably deserves.
All right, that's cool.
I'll
Well,
have a quick look
we'll
at the.
stick it on the recommended list as well. Okay,
Oh yeah, I'll definitely put it on my list. I'll have a
pull it
look at
through.
the reviews.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes 91%.
Fucking hell.
There you go, lad. IMDb 6.2. Nobody famous.
No, nobody famous. Nobody famous. You're not going to crack 7 if you got nobody famous in IMDb.
I don't think you're going to crack 6.5, to be honest, on IMDb. Yeah, done the ass from their elbow on there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I've got a few more. I don't know which one to pull because I don't think we're going to get through them all. All right, well, I can do the both at the same time, sort of. So both of these horrors I would call potentially horror comedies
Mhm.
because I don't think they're not particularly dark, and there's definitely aspects of dark humor in both of them. The first one is a pretty recent one. It's just been announced that it's going to get a sequel, actually. Ready or Not,
You know which one was that one?
the one where they get married and they go on the
Oh,
evening
they play hide and seek.
and they play hide and seek.
It was a great film. That
It was a great movie, yeah. And they all go after the bride, essentially, and the bride's going to get killed. Was it the night? It was the night of the wedding, wasn't it? Or not the night before.
I think so. I think it's the
It
night
must be
of
the
the
night of the
wedding.
wedding because she's in a wedding
Yeah.
dress.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's in a white dress through the
Yeah,
whole thing, isn't
yeah,
she?
yeah. But they've just announced that they're going to do a sequel for it, and that movie, I thought it was great fun. Like it was just enjoyable. I didn't take it too seriously. It wasn't too scary. It was almost quite light-hearted the way they approached it. Do you know what I mean? It was just very dark humor, and I thought it was great. I'd put it back on and I'd watch it anytime. I thought the cast was strong. Um, I thought that the humor was good. 2019 is further back than I thought.
I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't think it was that far. I didn't think it was that old.
Yeah, Adam Brody, I like. I'm just looking at the cast now. Um, Samira Weaving's obviously the main protagonist in it. She's the bride. She's back for the sequel. Um, but just very, very good. Another strong one on Rotten Tomatoes, 89%.
Famous
Not
people saying.
whether you can judge that or not, I don't know, but just good, just good fun for a horror movie. And I
Yeah,
didn't think I'd ever say that, but it was just good fun. Um, and the other one again that is very similar, the where I would put it in almost a subcategory of horror comedy is Cabin in the Woods.
yeah, yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah, and it has been a long time since I've seen it, but it was good. I just remember the scene of Chris Helmsworth on the bike saying, "Oh, I can make that jump,"
Yeah.
and he fucking floors it on the bike and he jumps, and then you just see him getting zapped by the laser grid that's surrounding
Besides
them.
some kind of force field, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
And he
just
just
bounces
bounces it
off.
off it and just falls into oblivion. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Cabin in
then
the Woods was great. Yeah,
and then
it took.
obviously at the end when it's all starting to go to shit and you see all the workers
Mhm.
in the labs who are triggering all the effects,
Yeah, because everything gets let out, doesn't it?
everything gets
Yeah,
starts getting let out and it just goes into descends into chaos. And that's the kind of thing that like certainly for me pulled me out of like the horror aspect of it and just made it more.
yeah.
It felt almost like an episode of Buffy. Do you know what I mean?
Uh huh.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
that.
it is very Buffy-ish in
Yeah,
its in its tone. It's scary, but it's not super scary. It's a bit more violent than Buffy.
yeah,
It's Buffy with blood, but the tone of it is very it's very Buffy-ish.
yeah. But
Um,
both good in their own right. But again, neither of them strong horror movies. I would say just they are what they are. And, yeah, quite fun. Um,
yeah, Cabin. I
again,
think Cabin in the Woods
I probably
is.
should have watched them both before we came in, just so I had a bit of a fresh outtake on them. But they're just ones that kind of stood out
Mhm.
in my mind when I was thinking back about horror movies that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, I think Cabin in the Woods definitely starts off more horror, like with the like the zombies, the hillbilly zombies.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
definitely.
like
Yeah,
some of that's quite spooky. But it's always cut through with the humor, like because it keeps going back to the control room with the two controller guys who were sort of
yeah,
very nihilistic, and
yeah.
yeah, it's just a job for them.
What did you think of the movie Wrong Turn when it first came out?
The old one, the original
Yeah,
one. I thought it was all right. It came
ah,
out.
no,
It came out amongst sort of that big. There was that big wave of like teen horror movies, wasn't there?
yeah,
There was like they not all they weren't all created equal at all. But there was the Hills of Eyes
The
remake,
Hills of
which
Eyes.
is
Yeah.
brilliant. That's a great remake. That um there was House of Wax. Um
Oh Christ, yeah, I forgot about House of Wax. Yeah,
yeah, there was
that
that one.
was gruesome. That
Which what was the film you said? Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn. Um endless amounts of like slashes. You know, there was like them few years where there was just
That's all
lots
it
of like
was. That's
teen
all we
horror
got for it.
movies.
There was
Yeah,
a period about 4 or 5 years where that's all we kind of got for.
but yeah, I didn't mind Wrong Turn. They remade it a few years ago,
Yeah, it's
2 or 3 years
terrifying.
ago.
I remember going to the pictures to see that. That was a shit idea.
It wasn't that bad. I do want to rewatch House of Wax though.
Yeah,
Somebody was
that's just
talking about it the other day, saying it's aged a lot better than they thought it would, and I thought, oh, I'll have to give that a go
yeah. House of
because that had
Wax.
Paris Hilton in, didn't it?
It did.
Um,
It did.
yeah, famous. Who was in Wrong Turn? I'm sure there was a famous starlet in that.
It was
Was it her from Buffy, the dark
yeah,
haired girl?
Elijah Dushku.
That's a
Dushku.
lad,
I don't know
Dushku.
how you
That's
pronounce her name.
yeah,
I'm sorry for butchering it.
yeah. I knew it had somebody kind of famous in, like a face.
Yeah. 2003. That was.
Christ alive!
Yeah.
So that's 22 years old.
22 years old.
Fuck
I
me
mean,
dead. That feels like it
that's
come
got
up yesterday.
41%, 41% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I don't think it's 41%.
Mm,
I think we can afford offer it a bit more than a 41%. Seems a bit rude. Um, a lot of them were rubbish though.
yeah.
Yeah, but that Hills Have Eyes. What's House of Facts got? Jesus, why is Google such a mess? Ugly. Oh, Jesus, 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe I don't want to watch that again.
28%.
um, yeah, I saw somebody on the internet saying, "Oh, House of Wax is actually much better when you watch it. It's quite good." I'm thinking, really?
Yeah, Paris
Um,
Hilton, Chad Michael Murray, Elijah yeah,
uh,
I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure there was a scene in that where it was awful. I remember watching it thinking that's grim.
um, I've got one more quick one.
Go on then.
Uh, this is again a fake documentary about some found footage tapes. I mean, I do like found footage, but this wasn't intentional. I've only just realised now what I've done here. Anyway, such is life. It's called Butterfly Kisses.
All right,
It's the whole film's on YouTube for free. Um,
really?
I think legally. I don't think it's like a dodgy link either. I think it got put up there, um, just as a gift to the world. Um, and it's about it's a The film is made as a documentary about two filmmakers
Yeah.
who heard of an urban legend about how to summon like the local ghost,
Yeah.
called
Fucking hell, it's
called
got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
it's a really good film. I mean, I don't know about 100% because there's a
Yeah.
few bits of ropey acting and stuff like that. But it's a fucking really really good film. It's very
Okay.
scary, very effective with like a low budget and stuff like that. They do a lot with a little.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a couple of filmmakers find out about this urban legend of how to summon uh, a, a character called Peep and Tom, like the local ghost legend. And you have to look down a tunnel, I think it's an old disused railway tunnel. You have to
Yeah.
look down a tunnel and not blink for like ages and ages, like a long time, long enough time to like damage your eyes.
Yeah.
Um, and they try to do it, try to hold their eyes open and try to do it as best they can, but they can't do it. Anyway, the cameraman, he's a crafty shit, and he realizes, oh, we could do it with the camera. The camera could be the eye, and the lens, the shutter
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is the blink. So we could do that. Um, and they do it, and lo and behold, they capture footage of Peep and Tom emerging because he's supposed to emerge at the end of the tunnel. That's the story. And every time you blink, he gets a bit closer, a tiny
Nope.
bit closer. Every time you blink, he gets a tiny bit closer. That's the urban legend of Peep and Tom. Um, and and they do it, and they capture his footage coming up, and they start to it gets they show the footage to like the local ghost hunting association of like old ladies. It's like a Facebook group sort of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as always, things start to get a bit creepy and a bit weird. And the guy who filmed it notices that every time he films anything and he looks at the footage, Peep and Tom's there in the background,
Nope.
and he's
Nah.
all and he goes through all stuff that he didn't even notice. But every time he watches it, he's there. He's somewhere there. He's there, just a little tiny fella off in the back, and he's getting a tiny little bit closer every time. and he's like waving and stuff because he's trying to make you blink because he that's his thing. Every time you blink, he gets a little bit closer to the point
Yeah.
where he's touching you. And it's
Nah.
called the film's called Butterfly Kisses because in the beginning of the film, again, the urban legend is when he's so close to you, his eyes will be touching you, but he does like lots of little fast blinks, so his eyelashes tickle your face,
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
which they call that butterfly kisses. When somebody puts their eyes on you and they flutter their eyelashes, that's what he
Yeah.
does to you to make you blink for the final time. Anyway, yeah, he's essentially haunting this guy's camera because the camera's like an eye.
I'd be smashing the fuck out of that camera.
But free to watch on YouTube. The whole thing's up there in high def. And it's really good. Again, it's a slow burn. It's not action packed in the slightest, but it is very atmospheric, very creepy. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, watch it for free.
Yeah, I mean that sounds absolutely fucking terrifying, so I'll definitely not be watching that.
Yeah,
But we will
you'll definitely throw your piece at that one, like man.
yeah, but we will add it to the list of recommendations. Yeah. All right, so that's us at the hour. Have you got any honourable mentions before we knock off? I think the only two that I
Not off
haven't run through were
not off the top of my
um,
head.
just blatant ones that I've got as honourable mentions. Obviously, Alien is one of my favourite films of all time. The first I would put it in sci-fi, but the first Alien movie is definitely sci-fi horror,
It's 100% a horror. Yeah, yeah,
100% sci-fi horror, and it's the we spoke about before. I think it's the only Alien movie that is a horror movie at
yeah,
this point.
definitely. Yeah,
And the other honorable mention I've got, just because I enjoyed it so much and I didn't think it would be one that I would enjoy, was part one of the It remakes.
yes,
Part
yeah.
two, part two isn't as strong, but part one I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. One was brilliant. Two fell
Yeah,
apart badly. Yeah, I
yeah,
was very disappointed with two.
yeah.
Um,
Same. And but the first one I thought was great,
oh, it was
great fun.
brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it was so yeah, it was just really tight and like
It
sort
got me
of.
so hyped and so excited to see part two as well, and it was
Mhm.
just. I mean, it didn't burn me. It wasn't a massive letdown, but it was nowhere near as strong.
No, no, absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they definitely fumbled it on the second one.
Mm. But
Um,
part one is great, great fun.
mm, honorable mentions for me. Exorcist 3. Everybody should watch it. Watch Exorcist 1 first so that you know
See,
what the fuck's going
that's
on.
the kind of thing that
But 2,
you've
Exorcist 2
mentioned
is
this
shocking.
before to me, but I would never go. Ah, I know I'll put Exorcist 3 on because it sounds like the kind of thing that would be like a straight to DVD kind of piece of shit. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was. I think it might have been straight to video, maybe, but it's brilliant. And yeah, I'm sure we spoke about it before, but Exorcist 3 is the second book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
continues on, doesn't it?
um, yeah, where Exorcist 2 film is dog shit and should be avoided at any cost. And I don't think it had anything to do with the writer or the books or anything. I think they just churned it out quick for money.
Yeah,
Um, whereas Exorcist 3 is actually the second book after The Exorcist. So yeah, but Exorcist 3 doesn't get as much love as it deserves. It's got probably the best jump scare in of all time.
yeah, you said that
Um,
before as well.
yeah,
What is it?
and
What's
it's
the
just
jump scare? Just because I'll put it on a clip and see. Or will it be less
just
effective if it's a
I mean,
snippet?
I'm not going to tell you where it is, but if you just type in Exorcist 3 jump scare on YouTube,
It'll be there.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like often voted by people as the best jump scare ever.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
It's
Oh,
brilliant, but it's a brilliant film overall as well. Again, very weird tone. It's quite funny. There's some scenes that are just like pure comedy.
yeah.
Um, but all over just general brilliant film
Okay.
and Event Horizon because it doesn't get enough love.
Yeah. Yeah. The Event Horizon's
I know it's
great.
becoming a cult film now, but
That's a favorite of the Mario movies. You know, the guy that's just put out that challenge to us on
all right, is
TikTok.
it cool?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, Event
one of his
Horizon's great.
top rated videos. Um, and it agreed. It's just so underrated for such a good movie.
I think it was a massive bomb in the cinema.
Yeah, I don't think it did
Um,
well at all.
but it's one of them that found its fan base on video.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, brilliant movie, fantastic film, Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, should be seen by all. One of the greats.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. That's us for this week. Next week we will be back with what's the theme next week? Oh, that's a good segue actually, because next week is sci-fi.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Um, but thanks for listening. Remember to check us out on all the socials wherever you go for that kind of stuff. Give us a like, please. Give us a follow. Drop comments in any of the snips and videos you see. Be sure to share along to your friends. And we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.